Before the bombs fell, America ran on dreams and sugar. No product embodied that dream more than Nuka-Cola. Invented in 2042 and released to the public in 2044, it promised happiness in a bottle, 17 fruit essences, a neon blue logo, and enough sugar and caffeine to keep an entire generation buzzing. Advertised as a health tonic, it was less about well being and more about selling the fantasy that progress and patriotism could be carbonated, bottled, and consumed. This was pre war America at its core, a nation where consumerism blurred with nationalism and where corporations like the Nuka-Cola Company sold not just drinks, but an identity. Its commercials promised family values, its mascots promised fun, and its corporate labs promised innovation. Behind the scenes, though, ruthless acquisitions, dangerous formulas, and even experiments with radioactive isotopes all swept under the glossy veneer of the American dream. And here's the irony: Nuka-Cola outlived America itself. When the Great War burned the world in nuclear fire, the soda didn't vanish. It became currency. It became culture. It became a relic that symbolized both the optimism that built civilization and the arrogance that destroyed it. This is the story of Nuka-Cola, the drink that defined a nation, poisoned its people, and became the sweetest and darkest icon of the Fallout universe. Nuka-Cola was born in 2042, perfected in secret labs by chemist John-Caleb Bradberton. 2 years later, in 2044, it hit store shelves, and America never looked back. With a flavor crafted from 17 fruit essences, from orange and lime to passion fruit, Bradberton had created something that wasn't just a drink, but an addiction in a bottle. Each serving contained more sugar and caffeine than any other soda on the market. Doctors would later warn of headaches, agitation, and withdrawal, but the advertisements painted Nuka-Cola as a health tonic, a miracle for families on the go. By the late 2040s, it was unstoppable. Nuka-Cola rapidly became the most popular beverage in America, outselling rivals and securing its place in nearly every home. The company flooded the market with vending machines, sponsored patriotic rallies, and plastered highways with neon blue billboards. Smiling mascots, Cappy and Bottle, charmed children, while commercials tied the soda directly to the all-American dream. Success bred experimentation. Nuka Cherry, Nuka Grape, and a host of fruit flavors joined the original lineup. But Bradberton wasn't content with just variety. He wanted dominance. Competitors like Miss Very Cherry Soda and Grape Pearl Soda bought out and rebranded into Nuka flavors. Patents from dead companies acquired and locked down so no new rivals could rise. The result? A corporate empire that didn't just lead the soft drink industry, it owned it. By 2050, Nuka-Cola had expanded far beyond the bottle. Bradberton opened Nuka-World, a sprawling amusement park that turned his soda into an experience, a place where families could wander through themed lands, from the space-age galactic zone to the sugary fantasy of Kitty Kingdom. Nuka-Cola wasn't just a drink anymore. It was a lifestyle, a culture, a symbol of America's future. But beneath the neon lights and smiling mascots, the company's thirst for power grew darker. New flavors began to cross into dangerous territory. The line between refreshment and radiation was about to blur, and Nuka-Cola's greatest creation would become its deadliest. Of course, the truth was far less sweet. Each bottle of Nuka-Cola contained staggering amounts of sugar and caffeine, the equivalent of 12% of your daily sugar allowance in a single serving, with a kick strong enough to leave consumers jittery and wired. The secret flavor was said to come from a blend of 17 fruit essences, including passion fruit, lime, orange, and lemon. But what really made people keep coming back wasn't the taste, it was the addiction. Regular drinkers often developed dependency. When they tried to stop, symptoms hit hard: headaches, agitation, poor concentration. In Fallout's post war wasteland, these side effects became a grim reality. Survivors could literally suffer from Nuka Cola addiction, craving a drink that both healed and poisoned them at the same time. It was a masterstroke of marketing. Sell the public an addictive product, wrap it in the imagery of health and family values, and watch the profits flow. In a way, Nuka-Cola was the perfect reflection of pre-war America, smiling on the outside, rotting on the inside. By the 2070s, John-Caleb Bradberton wasn't just selling soda, he was making deals with the U.S. military. As tensions with China escalated and the Sino-American War ground on, Nuka-Cola shifted its focus from entertainment to survival. What followed would turn a soft drink into a weapon. Bradberton cut a deal with the Army. In exchange for access to a secret life extension program, his scientists would lend their expertise to military research. The result was Project Cobalt, a shadow program where Nuka-Cola's labs developed high-energy chemical explosives for the war effort. One of those experiments produced a strange byproduct, a glowing isotope of strontium-90. The isotope was lethal in its raw state, but when diluted into a soda syrup, it became the company's boldest innovation yet, Nuka-Cola Quantum. Marketed with the slogan, "Twice the calories, twice the caffeine, twice the taste," it promised energy and excitement, while quietly dosing consumers with radioactive isotopes. Focus groups suffered organ failure, radiation burns, even death. Yet Bradberton pushed forward, convinced he could sell America on glowing blue sugar water. But quantum wasn't just a gimmick. The same chemical was refined into ammunition for the M42 Fat Man mini nuke launcher, and even retrofitted into Nuka-Cola's own promotional toy, the so-called Thirst Zapper. With a special mod, this soda gun could fire actual mini nukes. What started as a soda brand had now fully merged with the military-industrial complex. For Bradberton himself, the partnership was about more than money. He'd secured a place in the LEAP-X Life Extension program, a desperate gamble to survive the coming nuclear fire. But as we'll see later, that deal came with a cruel price: immortality without humanity. By the time the bombs fell in 2077, Nuka-Cola had crossed a line. It wasn't just selling sugar or even culture, it was selling radiation and normalizing the very technology that would end the world. In a world where paper money burned away in nuclear fire, bottle caps became king. Durable, portable, and scattered across the ruins in untold numbers, Nuka-Cola's byproduct became the backbone of wasteland trade. Merchants trusted them because they were nearly impossible to forge. Raiders hoarded them as loot. For the survivors of the apocalypse, the cap was more stable than any government. Ironically, Nuka-Cola had achieved what no currency ever could: an economy that outlived civilization itself. In the wasteland, Nuka-Cola is both salvation and slow death, A bottle restores health and lifts spirits, but it also seeps radiation into the body. Over time, some survivors became addicted, experiencing tremors, headaches, and cravings as real as any chems. Yet still they drink, because in a world of ash and rust, the fizz of a Nuka-Cola is the closest thing left to the American dream. Each flavor became more than refreshment, it became legend. A glowing quantum could turn a scavenger into a hero. A bottle of victory could buy safe passage with a mercenary band. And for raiders, an entire culture grew around the brand. Nowhere is Nuka-Cola's post-war influence stronger than in the ruins of Nuka-World. Once Bradberton's playground of progress, the park became the capital of raider culture. The disciples, the operators, and the pack carved up its lands, ruling from roller coasters and midway arenas. Even here, the mascots Cappy and Bottle endured, reimagined as symbols of power and cruelty. The Safari Adventures spliced abominations, the Galactic Zone's rogue warbots, the Kingdom of Clowns and radiation storms. All of it became a twisted cathedral to corporate America's refusal to die. Even in the ruins, Nuka-Cola remains everywhere, in the hands of traders, in the bloodstreams of addicts, in the banners of raiders, and in the memories of those who remember what came before. It's proof that corporations may fall, nations may burn, but brands can outlive us all. But there's one more chapter. The legacy of Nuka-Cola isn't just bottles and caps. It's the story of the man who built the empire, John-Caleb Bradberton, a man who sold America its sweetest dream and condemned himself to the bitterest fate. Beneath the smiles of Cappy and Bottle, beneath the rides and the jingles, John-Caleb Bradberton hid one last miracle, not for America, for himself. In 2076, Bradberton struck a bargain with the U.S. Army. His elite beverageers would work on military chemicals and weapons, Project Cobalt, and in return, he'd gain access to a classified life extension program. They called it LEAPX, a prototype that could prolong life imperfectly. On April 2nd, 2077, weeks before the bombs, Bradberton underwent the procedure, trading a body for borrowed time, sealed in a vault beneath his own office. Project Cobalt yielded more than weapons. From its chemical byproducts came a glowing isotope, a custom strontium-90 derivative that made Nuka-Cola Quantum possible. Early tests were lethal. Waivers and hush money kept the headlines quiet. The drink that electrified pre-war America was born in the same labs that learned to weaponize refreshment, civilization's fall. But brands linger. Bottle caps, crimped, common, hard to fake, outlasted dollars and governments to become the wasteland's standard currency. Nuka-Cola literally minted the economy of tomorrow. Across the ruins, every bottle tells the same joke, the comfort of the old world, purchased with a little more radiation. Nuka-Cola heals you, and it hurts you. That contradiction is fallout in a glass. John-Caleb Bradberton sold America its sweetest dream. 17 fruits, neon glass, blue glow, and in the end he became the punchline. A head in a jar, preserved by the very system he helped build. The park decayed, the nation burned, the caps kept their value, and the soda kept selling. Nuka-Cola isn't just a drink, it's a thesis about the world of fallout. Consumerism dressed as patriotism, science sold as spectacle, and a future mortgaged to the bomb. All right, wastelanders, your turn. If you had to pick one bottle to stash before a long trek, what's it going to be? Classic, Quantum, Victory, Quartz, or Wild? And why? Drop your pick and your spiciest Nuka theory in the comments. If you want more deep dives into Fallout's strangest corners, hit like, sub, and ring the bell. We've got plenty more in the cooler.